Alright guys, so in my last video I replaced the water valve on my washing machine, an old Kenmore 70 series. I'll post a link to that up but since I did that, that's been 2 weeks ago or so, and we normally only do laundry on the weekends, but since I replaced that water valve, I've noticed that during my fill cycle, when the valve shuts off and stops flowing water, it causes a loud bang noise. And so what this is, it's called water hammer, or the water hammer effect. And the reason it does this is because you've got a certain amount of pressure coming to your house, whether it be out of a well or out of a city line or whatever. And when that water is flowing and you've got an electronically controlled valve and it immediately stops the flow of that water, all of that pressure that's coming from behind now basically hits a brick wall and has to go somewhere. So it starts going back up the line. It then will clash with other water that's coming in, and it causes the pipes to move and bang, and it could eventually lead to some damage on the pipes. If they're not securely fastened, they can't come loose, can cause breaks, whatever. But they do make devices to help combat this, and they're called water hammer arresters. So they make one specifically for washing machines or a garden hose fitting, and it looks like this. And so on this side, you can see it's just a nut that will thread on to the garden hose fitting. On the bottom side, it's just your normal garden hose output. And then this top is just a little air chamber. So inside of here, there's like a little disc. On top of it is a spring. And so water is coming from your water supply here, going out to your washing machine. That flow of water stops, all the pressure comes back up here, and it's trying to go back here. You now have this other chamber that's full of air, and it will push that disc up, compress the spring, compress the air inside of that chamber, reducing some of the shock of that water pressure coming back, and so you don't get the loud bang. And so these are really easy to install. Basically, turn your water off, unscrew your water line, screw this on, screw the water line into the bottom, and you're good to go. Get my water turned off, get my fittings undone, and get this installed. Okay, so I've got it in place. Got the water back on, checked for leaks, don't have any leaks, so we're all good to go. I tried probably 3 or 4 different times before installing this just to try to catch the loud bang on video, and wouldn't you know it, it wouldn't do it anytime. I think part of the reason that I can't really hear it in here is because the washing machine makes so much noise on its own, and this is a kind of a small echoey room, and so it was just, you couldn't hear it on camera. I also looked for the actual flexible line to jump, and if it jumps at all, it's so fast that you don't really see it. I think the majority of the noise when it happens is actually down inside the wall, because the pipe in the wall is actually flexing and moving around. Now, as to why it just started doing it all of a sudden when I never noticed it before, I suspect it's due to the age of this machine. So this machine is over 20 years old. The water valve that was on here, when it closed, it probably closed, had some buildup on it, and closed at a slower rate, and so it wasn't an immediate shut off of that water. So it kind of dwindled the pressure off gradually instead of an immediate shut off. So I suspect that's why it started doing it with this new valve. This was fairly cheap. I think these are like 12 or 13 bucks. I'll post a link to them down in the description. You can also get them at your big box store locally. But if you've got banging pipes when your wash machine shuts off, this is the solution. One other thing to consider, if your washing machine water supply setup isn't in a box like this, if it's some other configuration and you don't have room for this particular T valve, they do make these where they're just a straight through. Or they also, you could also install that on the back of your machine instead of at the supply. So a couple options there for you. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them down below. If you like what I do, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, we'll see you later.